Hello everybody, and welcome to this video where I'm going to go over all of the steps on how to fix a mandolin with a high fret. The reason I'm doing this video is I have a customer that lives in a fairly remote area and he has no luthiers to go to living close by. This would be usually an easy fix for a luthier, quite often just a tap or two with the hammer in the right spot. But knowing how to find that right spot and everything is one of the things that we're going to try to accomplish with this video. My customer seems fairly comfortable with fixing this mandolin himself, so I'm going to try to avoid the trouble and expense of having it shipped back to me and explain to him and to you how to fix a high fret. Let me show you a photo of a piece of fret wire, and then I'll draw a diagram of exactly what happens when that fret wire gets put into a fretboard. Let me just draw a fret right here. A fret is, as you saw in the photo, a mushroom-shaped piece of wire, an extruded piece of wire in a mushroom shape, has some barbs down the side of it, and that tang at the bottom there, the stem of the mushroom, gets hammered down into the fret slot, and those little barbs there grab into the wood. And so you cut a piece of fret wire, and that's the right length. You hammer it in. That's what happens. Let's take a look at the slot, and the piece of fret wire fits down in it just exactly like that, and the little tangs there, which I didn't draw, grabs onto the walls of the fretboard, and that's how the fret stays in. There are 2 or 3 reasons why those frets come loose, but number one is if you don't keep your fingerboard oiled, either red oil or lemon oil, then the wood shrinks, therefore the hole gets bigger, and you can see right there that the fretboard shrinks away from the fret, therefore loosens up, and you're in trouble. Let's examine what happens when you have a high fret. You have, we're going to make the fret on the right installed correctly, and the fret on the left is going to be a little higher than it should be because it's loosened up and worked its way out. Now let's say the nut is on the right side and the bridge is on the left side. So you press the string down to the right of the fret, and it should be clear and vibrating all the way to the bridge. However, it doesn't, simply because it's hitting the next fret up. Sometimes buzzing, sometimes actually giving that note. This fret is bad. It's hitting right there when it shouldn't be. And that's why you need to keep all the frets level and knocked down so that they stay out of each other's way. Now, if you're having trouble with your mandolin, the first and most important job is to find the offending fret. And to help me illustrate the best method to do that, I'm going to use this brand new A-style Country Boy mandolin. So new, in fact, that it's never even had strings on it. So, now, if you're having trouble with your mandolin, again, you may already know which fret is high just by playing it, and you know where you have your trouble. But if not, it'll be easy to find the problem fret with just a good light. It can be a lamp with the lampshade taken off. I have these things here, but either way, get a good light. You want to prepare your mandolin by taking the strings off of it and the bridge and that sort of thing. You don't have to take the keys or anything. Just what you want is to be able to see the fretboard really good. And you hold the mandolin this way in relationship to the light and just simply look down it. Now you'll find that if you angle it just the proper way, you'll be able to just see little bands of frets all the way down that thing. You just kind of tilt it down just a little bit and get that view. And you will see, if you have a problem, you will see one of those little frets will be wider than the other ones. There's your high fret. Now, how do you figure, and it can be terribly confusing just trying to figure out which one that is. And the way I do it is to take my finger and just run right down through there until I cover up that wide band. That's the one right there. So let's say it's the 12th fret, say, and you have it and you know which one it is. The best way to fix it is to tap it with a hammer. I have this little hammer, but you can use a bigger one. Not quite that big, but you probably could get away with using a carpenter's hammer. So, you have a high fret here. You found it. Oh, you know it's that one right there. Take your hammer. Usually it's just one side, bass or treble, but it could be all over the whole fret. It don't really matter. And you don't want to hit it hard. Knock it back into place. Give it a check. By golly, that's great. Now, once you get, and you may have 2 or 3 messed up, it don't matter. You know, you just knock them down till they look pretty level. And then you may want to dress those frets. And by that we mean just basically sanding them out and making them as close to machine shop level, the tops of them, as we can make them. Here's how to go about doing that. You can use a set of files, medium to fine, to level these frets up with. I use a piece of 1/2-inch glass with a piece of 220 sandpaper wrapped around it. Wrap it really good and tight if you can. And just watch the tops. I have done it in the past with a 2-foot level that I thought was fairly accurate. Same thing, wrap fretboard or sandpaper around it and just very carefully move it around the fretboard. You won't have to do it much if you've done your tapping job with the hammer correctly. You won't have to do it much, and you just kind of hold it in the light and look at the fret tops and make sure that you've touched all of the fret tops. And once you've touched with the sandpaper or the file all of those fret tops, then you're pretty much level. You can hold it up to the light again and double check it, but you'll find that you're pretty much level. Then there's no really good way to round the frets off without the fret tops if they're flattened, unless you have a special tool, which they do make files that are kind of round, but they're fairly expensive. And I have found that you can get away with just using your fingers and a piece of pretty fine paper and sanding this way. And boy, you believe it, you wouldn't believe it, but it'll knock off about 85% of that flat top there. And that would be good enough for you to call your problem fixed. You know, I want to go over it again and make sure that I emphasize enough the importance of keeping oil on your fretboard. I use lemon oil here. There's also red oil. Just any of the oils that doesn't have any drying agents in them. And lemon oil is pretty much the accepted one. But you'd be surprised at how much that will soak into a fretboard that's been left untouched for a couple of years. And The more that fretboard dries out, the looser those frets are going to be. So be sure, once or twice or 3 or 4 times a year, give your fretboard just a swipe with that red oil and leave it overnight. It'll soak in, trust me. So there you go. In review, the fret slip fits down in the slot. Something has caused it to loosen up and come out. You need to put it back. Best way to do that is to soak the fretboard several days, if you have to, with lemon oil to swell the wood fibers back out so that when you hammer it back down in there, the tangs will bite and hold. Hammer it down. Dress it with some files or sandpaper. Level them over or around over the top of the frets as best you can. Put your strings back on, play your mandolin and enjoy it. Be sure to come back to the Ratliff Mandolin's YouTube channel for future videos, and we certainly hope to see you then. Goodbye. Oh, and by the way, if none of those things work, let me know.